Hello viewers, you join us in a very rainy Goa and we are here to drive the 5th Citroen in India. After the C3 and the C5 range, we would have expected a C4, but this is not called the C4, it is just as explosive. Welcome to the Citroen Basalt Coupe SUV. This is the first time we are driving a coupe SUV in this segment, and it is also India's first option for a coupe SUV because the Tata Curve is still on its way. That being said, the length of this car is a little more than 4.3 meters. What do you think about the styling? Let us know in the comments. Inside the cabin of the Basalt, luxurious is not the word that comes to mind, but this is an extremely comfortable place to be for a driver. The reach to the steering wheel, the reach to the pedals, the way the seat fits around me, all of that leaves me in a very good place of comfort. The readability of the console, the convenience of the touchscreen, and the fact that they have used buttons for things like the AC control and all make this an extremely accessible and easy to use car. In terms of plastic, the way they have designed it is extremely nice, very appealing, and the quality of plastic is good, but I would say a little on the harder side. One thing I would improve in this place, and that is probably because my limbs are fairly long, is that when I use the gears, my hand ends up hitting the armrest or the seat. Other than that, no complaints here. Now let's move into the second row. In the second row of the Basalt, one of the major concerns for me being a coupe SUV was headroom. But this seat is now set to my height, which is 6.1 feet, and here I am, and my head is barely touching the roof, and I think for a coupe SUV, that's very good. I have enough legroom, ample knee room, and a lot of shoulder room as well. One thing that this car does not get is that this is the manual top-end model. The top-end automatic gets the seat adjuster over here, which allows this thing to move a little bit up and down to provide you with the exact amount of thigh support that you need, which I think is a very clever innovation in this segment. Just like the rear seats, there is no shortage of space in the boot either. Up to 470 liters is the claim capacity, and that I think is excellent for a coupe SUV to meet the needs of a family. One thing I think that could be improved is that if you are not as tall as I am, reaching up and closing this boot can be a bit of a challenge because there is nothing to hold on to over here. Otherwise, good space. For the Basalt, you only get a petrol engine, which is a 3-cylinder, but you have two variants in that. One is naturally aspirated, whereas this one is a turbocharged petrol engine. And both have different levels of power outputs. One is 82 horsepower and this one here is 110 horsepower. It is also offered with a manual transmission or an automatic. The automatic makes a little bit more torque. Right now we are driving the PureTech 110, which is the 1.2 litre turbocharged petrol engine. And what I must say is that the first impression I'm getting is that I cannot say that this is a 3-cylinder engine. The refinement levels are impressive. Not a lot of vibrations at all and very little noise inside the cabin. Outside you can hear the engine a fair bit, but inside the cabin no noise at all. And in terms of performance, right now I'm in third gear doing about 50 kilometers an hour, and there's ample torque to pull this car through even in the higher gears, which I find extremely useful for the city because you don't need to do a lot of gear changes. In terms of outright performance, I would not describe this as sporty, but there is enough to keep the driver interested on long drives and even on twisty roads. Speaking of twisty roads, the ride quality of the Citroen is amazing. What they claim to be a magic carpet effect is replicated to a very good degree, and there's barely anything that you feel inside the cabin. Some might think that that setup would leave the car very soft to be driven fast, but that's not the case. They have achieved a very good balance between comfort and handling, which means on long drives, twisty roads and all that, this Citroen is not a boring car. At the end of our time with the Citroen Basalt, we feel that this coupe SUV has what it takes to be an interesting alternative to somebody who wants an SUV that's more than 4 meters long, minus the boxy SUV styling. It also has enough features, space and comfort to keep a small family entertained and interested, while also being interesting enough for the driver to enjoy. The Citroen Basalt SUV Coupe has been launched at an introductory price of Rs 7.99 lakh ex-showroom, and this pricing is valid until 31st October 2024. This is Joshua Varghese signing off for Car India.